Howdy everyone, Pocho here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're doing the Hero Spotlight for Furia, the range damager for the Chaos Spawn, and she will be available in the next Hero Pass. We'll go over her skills, her abilities, talk a little bit about the character, look at her animations, cover everything you need to know about her, and in the next video I release I'll be covering Invid and all his skills as well. We've had a sneak peek at Invid, but now we get to cover everything the hero has to offer. With the release of these two new heroes, the Chaos Spawn are brought up to 7 characters, and they're now in a position as well where all the characters are very usable. So it's going to be fun mix and matching, seeing where they are best to use. I'll talk about my theories as well on who you're going to sub out of the team and who you're going to keep for the main squad, but there are plenty of options. So let's get into it. And I don't know if you can hear it, there's a thunderstorm going on in the background as well, so I don't know, maybe it's meant to be, maybe we're meant to cover Furia today because she's a little firecracker herself. So yeah, let's get into the battle and check this chick out. Furia's basic attack is quintuple shot, performs 5 range magic attacks on the target. Awakening it, damage is increased by 25%. Furia casts 1 stack of potential on herself every time she misses or the target dodges. Potential will be described in one of the other abilities. Essentially, it's like a little bomb that she applies to herself. We'll go ahead and look at the animation of the skill as well. Let's go ahead and attack Let's attack Sekman. So she's going to strike it 5 times. It's all done in the 1 hit. Okay, she's not actually shooting 5 shots, which is a little bit sad. I would have liked to see it done 5 times, but there you go, 5 shots as well. There you go. Personally, I mention it in every time I see a skill like this. I love skills that multi-hit because it can get rid of things like death protection. Like if they have 8 stacks of invulnerability, you have to take it down to 1. For example, when the goos go into canopic jars, they have X amount of stacks. You're going to take 5 stacks away with this strike. So that's a basic. I don't think there's many basics in the skill that are multi-strike, at least not 5. I don't think there's any in the game that reaches 5. There are a few that can double strike. Maybe some that can triple, but 5 is a whole new level. But it's definitely very, very effective against those characters that have a protection of some kind before they are killed. Canopic Jar's a perfect example. So, yeah, nice ability, nothing crazy about it. We're using it against the goose, so you're not going to see a lot of damage coming out of it as well, but maybe in a different situation. Maybe when the whole team is set up with all their buffs, you're going to see something come out of this. Moving on to her second ability, we have High Voltage. Performs 2 range magic attacks on all enemies. Every hit has a 30% chance per Dark Ally to cast 2 charges of static on enemies. At the start of the turn, deals damage to the target and 2 random enemies, equal to 35% of Furia's basic damage. When more than 12 charges accumulate, they explode, dealing damage per charge. 1 charge is removed every turn. Casts 1 charge of potential on herself. At the start of her turn, Furia deals range magic damage equal to 12% of her basic damage to all enemies. When more than 8 charges accumulate, they explode, dealing damage per charge. 1 charge is removed every turn. Awakening the skill increases the chance of static being cast, and then more static charges are applied, and they deal more damage. So we'll jump over, look at the animation. She'll jump in the air and throw a little lightning spear down, and there we go, static is applied. You'll see up to 5 stacks. It's because I was messing around with the skill. You can apply up to 4 stacks with the ability. So let's talk about this a little bit. We need to go over. Number 1, you're going to recognize it, static. There are a few characters in the game that can apply static. The 2 most common ones are your Tionas and your Teodors. Now, the problem with these 2 characters and why Teodor's probably overlooked is because the static from Teodor does not line up with the static from Tiona. Number 1, because they are light and dark, and they both have different conditions to being triggered. And I'm pretty sure one of them states in their abilities will not apply static if a dark or light hero is in the team. Pretty sure it's Teodor. So, the character people normally use for static is Tiona, and she is amazing at it. Because of that one ability, she's almost remained in the meta. She can take out clowns, for example, if they're not built with damage reduction. She's a very efficient hero in a lot of game modes. She's wonderful. With the release of Furia, this character can now be played with Tiona. Now, Are you going to play her with Tiona? Possibly. We'll talk a little bit about it later on, but like I said, there's 7 characters in the team. A team can normally consist of 5, unless it's clan battles, and you can use 6, which means there are 2 Chaos Spawn. You're going to have to move out for something, okay? So, which 2 are they going to be? We'll talk about that a little bit later, like I said. But the idea is she can be played in 2 teams. Number 1, the Chaos Spawn. Number 2, the Firestorm squad, which is really good for her. The other thing is the potential. It's a new thing, works only on her, but that's why they call her the Explosive Child. Essentially, she's building up stacks constantly for either static or potential, and she's exploding and deal a whole bunch of damage. So just keep that in mind. So overall, yeah, pretty nice ability, bit of a workup one, and yeah, nothing crazy about it at all. Her next skill is Electric Boogie. Performs 5 ranged magic attacks on all enemies with static. If no enemy has static, performs 1 ranged magic attack on all enemies and casts 4 charges of static on them. At the start of the turn, deals damage. I guess it just goes on to say what static does. We don't need to know that. We read it in the last ability. For every enemy killed by this ability, 1 ranged magic attack is performed on 2 random enemies and 1 static charge is cast on them. Awakening this, ability cooldown is reduced and static charges deal more damage. Go ahead and look at the animation of the skill. They all have static on them, so she should strike them 5 times. Oh, she disappears. Okay, she disappears, turns into a thundercloud, and yeah, blasts them. Okay, her animations are pretty cool for a little thunder girl. I really like. Sorry, animations is just one of my absolute favorite things. So when I see them done well, yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. So again, nothing crazy about this ability. If they've got static applied to them, she's not going to increase the static charges. She's just going to perform more ranged magic attacks. If they don't, if no enemies have static, she's going to go ahead and apply static. So it's up to you. Do you use her second ability first, apply the static, and then get 5 strikes out of this? Or do you lead with this and apply static, but it's only attacking once? Up to you. I honestly don't know what would be the better method. I think, again, it depends on the team you're using her on. If you are running her on the Chaos Spawn team, I probably would... I want to say use her second first, and then jump into her third. I really can't tell. But then again, on... I guess on Firestorm Squad, it doesn't really matter, because there's a chance the enemy's going to have static on them to begin with because of Tiona. So you could go up and go ahead with... I would probably... Actually, no, sorry, that's a lot. On Firestorm Squad, I'd probably use her second first, because that would increase the static charges, which means you're going to be able to explode them and get more damage out of them a lot quicker. Going in with the Chaos Spawn, I'd probably use her third skill first and then move into her second skill and just get as much static getting up on these characters as possible. Yeah, very interesting hero in the way you want to use her. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, nothing crazy. Actually, pretty simple hero to understand. Static or not static. Alright, let's move on to her passive. Her passive is Child of the Storm. When dealing critical damage, Furia has a 25% chance to gain 1 charge of potential. Potential cast by Furia deals 100% more damage to targets with a shield. When an enemy attempts to cast a dot effect on an allied Chaos Spawn, the effect is blocked and 1 static charge is applied to the target instead. So let me just clear that up right now. You cannot apply dots to the Chaos Spawn. The static does not apply to the enemy, it applies to you. So if they apply a dot to you, it's replaced by a static charge. Honestly, is almost redundant. Unless the enemy can apply static to you as well, it's 1 charge, it dissipates almost instantly, you won't even really notice it, but it's essentially protecting them from dot effects. So just keep that in mind. It's actually a pretty big deal, because when you think of dot effects, you think of just bleeds and burns and stuff like that. Dot effects are actually quite extensive in Age of Magic. A lot of things fall under the umbrella. Perfect example is Corvus squads. Felicia's mutagenic ulcer, which transforms them into the gooish blobs, that debuff is considered a dot because it deals damage over time. Even though it does a whole bunch of other things, if the skill does damage over time, it is considered a dot. So Furia in the team essentially protects the Chaos Spawn completely from Renegade Rendems. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't seem like a big thing, but it actually protects them from a whole faction within the game, and any other factions as well, but that's the most standout one. When another Dark Ally deals physical damage to an enemy with static, the target receives 2 more charges of static, so your Ghoul dealing damage is gonna... I'm pretty sure Ghoul is physical damage. He would have to be. Superior as well, but to be honest, I don't know if you would be running Superior, and I don't know what damage Invid is, so either way, static applied from melee damages. In the arena and tournament, damage dealt by Furia ignores damage reduction effects except for those from medallions. It is insane that that little bit of text is added to anything. I don't understand why damage reduction on medallions is just so protected. Give damage through damage reduction regardless of where it's from. It's one of the... I just don't like it. If you're going to be able to deal damage through damage reduction, make sure it can be dealt through damage reduction on medallions as well. It makes no sense to me. No sense at all. Awakening, then again, in saying that, the Chaos Spawn are going to be the most insanely strong team in the game in PvP settings at very least. I assume PvP, PvE, you're probably going to, yeah. If you came to the stream, you would know how strong they're going to be. It's insane. Anyway, awakening this, an enemy that dies with static charges or from their damage cannot be revived. Pretty crazy. It's a passive. Reminder, using it on a Tiona squad, it's still gonna work. Okay? So, what are you going to do with this hero? How are you going to use it? Let me take a little bit of water while you just try to grasp the severity of how strong the Chaos Spawn are going to be. Delicious. Okay. 2 new heroes, Invid Furia, brings us to 7 Chaos Spawn. 2 game modes, clan battles and anything out of clan battles. 5-man squad majority of the time with the potential of a 6-man squad. How are you going to use every single one of these heroes? Because they are all extremely usable. Extremely usable. Let's talk about 5-man squad, Chaos Spawn. My theory for the 5-man Chaos Spawn squad is going to be you will run Sid, you will run Aked, you will run Ghoul, you will run Luxuria, and you will run Invid. And you will put to the side Superior and Furia. I'm not saying that you're not going to use those 2 heroes. I'm just talking about a 5v5 situation where you're making the most out of every hero you've got. Now, what are you going to do with Superior? What are you going to do with Furia? Superior, I've talked about plenty of times. You are going to move Superior into your Virishan melee-led squad. Virishan is the leader with 5 melee damages. So far, what I'm thinking of with that squad, you've got Virishan as the leader, you will have Superior now, and I would be throwing Freyhel in there as well, and the other 2 characters yet to be decided. People are messing around with it. They're coming up with some solutions, but as of right now, Superior has a home in both the Chaos Spawn and Virishan's melee damage-led squad. Furia, again, now has 2 homes. You can use her in the Chaos Spawn if you choose to do so, or you could throw her into your Tiona bomb squad and make the bomb more potent. Now, we tested the bomb squad a little bit and she works very well in there. You would be removing Succubus, okay? So, you would be running Tiona. This is my personal favorite bomb squad. You would be running Tiona, you would be running Flame, you would be running Gatekeeper, you would be running Rock, you would be running Furia. If it is a multi-faction squad where you can't use characters from the same faction, you would remove Flame, you would put Balthazar in. There may be some times where you use Balthazar over Flame anyway because of his ability to debuff the enemy when his turn comes around, but it'd be mix and match depending on the situation. But I think you could easily put her in there and get a lot of use out of her there. Overall, if you're playing a 6-man Chaos Spawn squad, I want to say you're taking out Superior and running Invid and Furia in the team as well. And that's going to be absolutely potent. But if you don't want to use Furia, I would suggest Superior and Invid together. I think that both of them together could do a lot of damage. And fun fact, Superior does not get cursed with the ability to not deal damage through damage reduction on medallions. She still can do that. Her basic ability is one of the, in my personal opinion at the moment, one of the best abilities in the game, because if it's damage reduction in the kit, if it's damage reduction on medallion, she can blast through it. She doesn't care, and it's in her basic ability. So, yeah. It's a lot. This faction, all their heroes are usable. I know there's a lot of people that built their Chaos Spawn. They're probably a bit sad that they were being phased out a little bit with all the new powerful squads coming through, but what do you know? You may be back in the spotlight again. You are. Okay, we've tested it. There's no team that I can personally find at the moment that can securely beat these. There are some that may be able to win, but overall, they're just menaces at the moment with Invid and Furia added to it. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're on the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.